Good morning, everybody. Beautiful day we're having down here in Miami Beach. Quick update on everything. I didn't post a video yesterday, but I was kind of running around. I did post on my blog, though. The post is called The Tunnel. It's about depression. The reason that I wrote about that was my cousin had posted something online similar to that topic, and whenever it comes to depression, stuff like that, I like to let people know that I've been there, and that you just got to keep going. It's tough, life's tough, but the way that I deal with depression is that I focus on trying to be the kind of person that I admire, and making sure that I'm doing what I feel is to be the right thing at any given time. As long as I can do that, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I know that I'm doing what I need to do. And that's what's important, because we all come into this world alone. We all die alone. And, it's like a big pinball machine. And that's how it works. You've just got to kind of deal with it as it comes. But because you're always there, by making you good with you, you can overcome that feeling of despair, and you might feel it here and there a little bit, but as long as you have some goals, as long as you have a purpose, as long as you have some drive to actually be something, you know what I mean? Even if your goal is only just to exist and just to have fun, like that's a goal. But I think that the problem, most people get caught up with depression and loneliness and despair, is that they are outcome dependent. They focus on external forces instead of internal forces, and that's not a formula that you can rely on. If things are going bad outside of you, you're not going to respond to that well. If you're focused on you, then you don't have to worry about that. And so that's kind of how I deal with that, and that's why I posted that. It's pretty important. There's a lot of people. There's a soldier that kills themselves every 22 minutes, something like that, or 22 soldiers kill themselves every day, some statistic. But that's just a soldier statistic. And let's talk about the people all over the world. It's crazy. We live in a crazy world, and there's people giving up on it all the time. You know what I mean? I was there. I grew up in a way that I basically was completely alone with myself, and that wasn't because of anybody else's decision. It was basically my decision to live that way, and because of that, I was responsible for everything that happened to me. And that's the main reason why I found my way out of this tunnel of darkness, as I like to call it. It's the reason why I found myself getting out of that, was because I realized, being alone, not even being able to recognize myself, that I was the only one going to be able to pull myself out of it. I was going to have to walk out of the darkness, and even if there was just a tiny, tiny pinprick of light, I could follow that, and every step that I took in the right direction, things got better. And now I'm here where I'm at, and I've overcome ridiculous obstacles that most people, it's incredulous, because, who's willing to put themselves in prison for their integrity? Not a lot of people. Who's on a quest to try and save the world at risk of personal comfort? And not a lot of people can say that either. And so, regardless of how anybody else views what I'm doing, I've got me figured out. So I don't need to hear anybody else's answers about what that is. Like, everybody's always going to have advice. Everybody's always going to have feedback. Everybody's going to be like, oh, well, you need to focus on this. You need to focus on that. You need to focus on this. What's funny is that the vast majority of the world have a specific religion. Most of them have some kind of a doomsday event. At the end of time, God's going to come and save the people that are holy, and they're going to get rid of all the people that aren't. The reason that I say that that's funny is because all of the global issues that I'm talking about point to something like that, point to this doomsday end event. But the problem is that the vast majority of people on the planet don't think they can stop it. That's why there's nothing being done about it. To me, that's not logical. I don't have the same views. I think there's a God being at the end of time, not at the beginning of time. If you think of a strobe light, the timeline of a God is going, right? So the entire timeline of the universe at the end, as evolution, as everything else pushes, you know, towards this ultimate being, at the end, that ultimate being exists. It's like, okay, well, now I've won the game, let's start it over again. And then it shatters itself into the universe, and we start from square one again, and that happens over and over and over again. You know, that's how I believe the universe works. That's how I believe that reality works. And so we don't have a God overlooking everything. We don't have one that's overseeing everything. We probably have other beings that are more advanced than us that are trying to play God, but that doesn't count. That's not an ultimate being. I mean, now if they're more powerful, hey, by all means, more power to you. But there's humans that are more powerful than me, and I don't worship them. The idea is to try and do what's right for you. The idea is to try and do what you feel to be the best thing. It's relevance. Is it relative to you? Is it, you know, is it going to affect you? And the reason why I'm focusing on these large global issues is because if I don't, and they don't get fixed, then I'm still going to have to deal with the consequences. And personal issues aside, personal issues are typically pretty small. They're pretty minor issues. You know, I mean, there's enough people that have goodwill in this world to really survive on next to nothing, which is mind-boggling to people who have stuff. They're like, oh my God, why would you want to do that? Well, it's not like I want to do this. I just am having a hard time getting in front of the people that actually give a shit. You know, I mean, you know, to be honest with you, I came down to Florida expecting that Grant Cardone would at least give me 60 seconds of his time, and that hasn't happened. So it makes me kind of question whether or not, you know, I made a mistake by coming down here and trying to elicit his help without actually letting him know first. And there are a lot of people that told me that, you know, why aren't you doing this? But I felt like it would have a bigger impact if I came down here and was like, look, I'm here. I've dedicated myself. I've made the decision. I'm finally made the commitment. I'm down here. I'm not going anywhere. And, you know, you win some, you lose some. Everything's a risk, and I rolled the dice, and it hasn't worked out yet, but I'm not giving up on it. You know what I mean? I think he's got a good heart. You know, everybody has their personality quirks. Everybody has things that somebody else is going to disagree with. But I think that he does. I think he's got a good heart. I think he's a good guy, and I want to see him succeed. I think that the message that he's spreading around is a good message, and I think he's got some valuable material to share with the world. And if I can get in front of him, I think I can explain enough of that to have him maybe give me a chance. And if he does, then I can prove to him that I can do what I say I can do, and then hopefully he'll learn more about what I'm talking about as time goes by. You know, do I know that he's going to listen to me? Do I know he's even going to give me a minute of his time? I don't know, but I'm trying. I'm doing what I can. Now, that being said, you know, I've had other people tell me, you know, you've got to have a backup plan. I get that, and I have been working on a couple of other things to try and get that going. You know, there's always got to be some type of income coming in, and the solutions that I've come up with, not all of them have panned out the way that I imagined they would. Miami's a really, really tough place. I didn't realize that when I came down here. South Beach is really the only place down in this area that has any money. There's a lot of, it's basically the entire area is ghetto, and nobody has any money. There's a lot of homeless people down here because of the weather. There's a lot of tourists, but they don't stay here. And there's, you know, a bunch of really wealthy, successful people that live in this area. But other than this area, there's nothing. And to protect the tourist industry, there's a lot of things that you're prohibited from doing. So some of the things that I thought I was going to be able to do, I wasn't able to do, not for lack of trying, but that's okay. I've had other people reach out to me with solutions. I've reached out to a couple of companies for employment. I put my resume into a solar company, and I'm in the process of talking to a window company about employment as well, because I've sold both of those. You know, I know what I'm doing. So that's partial solution that may happen. And then my other buddy has a network marketing company that he works with that I'm going to try and get in with, and see how far I can spread that, because that'll probably be bringing me a little bit of immediate assistance faster than let's say the sales jobs would, because I'd have to, you know, first of all, I'd have to get hired, go through the hiring process, then be trained on whatever it is that they're doing differently, and then go out, sell something, and then wait for their pay period. So that could be a couple of weeks, you know what I mean, at the soonest, essentially. Whereas if I do this network marketing deal, I can involve people here and get it moving much more quickly. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, I'm still writing in the blog. I'm trying to do the videos. I'm trying to maintain my health and my welfare by eating and keeping gas in the car and you know, doing laundry. But I'm having a hard time, you know, going to the gym, specifically because I sprained my wrist again, and now my knee's giving me a problem. So I'm gonna go check out the VA hospital and see if there's something that they can recommend, if there's, you know, something that I can do to try and speed up the process. Something I need to do anyway, just in case something happens. They need to know that I live here, that I'm down here. So yeah, that's kind of the update. If you guys have any comments or questions or anything, man, feel free. Any kind of support that you can send my way, you know, it's always appreciated. And wish me luck. Another day in the sun, you know what I mean? I mean, I can't complain that much. I'm in a tropical paradise. So for those of you that are in other areas, you know, I'm sorry for you. So have a great day. I love you guys to death, and let me know if you need anything from me. Thanks. Bye.